Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Lens. I'm joined by my co-host or host. You're the host, Quinn. I'm not the. You're not.
I'm co. You're the host.
We're both
I'm coing.
Co-hosting.
We're both co.
I'm here co-hosting with the main host, Quinn Murphy, all the way in New York.
False.
Here with another episode to hopefully brighten up your day. You can spend some time with us, some 10 to 15 minutes on another freelancing video. And this time around, we are chatting about
when to say no to a job. Because we all have FOMO.
A lot of FOMO. It's very easy to feel like you're missing out or being left out of projects, especially when you see friends shooting with so-and-so and in cool places and locations, and you're like, man, like I wish I was there.
Yes.
But sometimes...
Also money.
Also money.
We need money.
You do need money to live. I think the more you progress in this career path, you realize that some projects just aren't worth it. And in reality, you're not missing out on anything. You're protecting your peace. Quinn, I would love to hear your progression throughout your career, from basically, we all have to do it. We all have to say yes when we're starting out to everything.
Yes.
And then, the more you get into it, the more business you bring in, the more people you meet, you're presented with a lot more opportunities, and you become fortunate enough to be able to sift through some of them, say no to certain things. So I would love to hear your progression on how that went from you saying yes to everything to declining projects, and kind of your process in saying no, your thought process behind it.
I pretty much said yes to everything in the beginning for experience, for money, for exposure. And then as you build your client base, as you grow, you start to make more money, you start to get more work. Hopefully, ideally, that is what happens. So you have to pick and choose, like what you want to put your time into. So there's a few different factors in my head. And this is really once you get to a point where you have a nice set of clients that are paying you well and your rate, are giving you work that you enjoy. And I say that as a reminder to yourself that you have like a solid foundation, so you can say no, and maybe you don't have any work coming up, but you have like the network to kind of be always there. So this is, once you get to that point. So my thought process when I say no is I'm kind of at the point where it's like, if I don't feel that like, hell yeah, I typically will say no, or I'll hand it off to someone else. I mean, that's usually what happens. But I need it to definitely be like exciting creatively, and also like how time intensive it is, and paired with that is like how much money are they willing to pay for it. So it's like a combination of weighing those three things. So if it's something really creative and cool that I know will help me like level up either business wise or creatively or something like that I'm just really excited about, because it's like, this is my like bread and butter, like I really just want to do this, the money, the like budget for it doesn't need to be as crazy high. Ideally it is all working out, but like, you have to pick and choose, and sometimes like it's something really cool, but maybe the money isn't there. So it's like, do I take it? Do I not? If it's like really creative and cool, and I know it's going to like look great in my portfolio and help me get other jobs similar, it's okay if the rate isn't exceedingly high. So that's kind of where I go with that. Because I know I'm like investing in myself and in this client, if it's a good client and like that sort of thing. If it's like really quite boring work and I'm not super into it, and it's stuff that maybe I've just moved on from creatively, the money aspect of it comes in a lot more. Like if they're paying really well, and it's like, okay, this is gonna allow me to like take the next month off to like enjoy life, or to like create more stuff on my own, or to invest in my gear, or like invest in my business, like things like that. Sometimes like, yeah, I'll say yes to those because it's like it can be relatively easy work, it pays really well, and it's like not super like mentally straining. That's like those are the two things I weigh. And ideally, like, get to a point where you're saying yes to creative stuff that's also paying you really well. So I'll say yes to those immediately. But it's like, it's weighing that. And sometimes I'll just say no to like, if I'm overwhelmed with things like in other work, sometimes I'll say no, even if it's like a cool project, but I know like I don't have the mental or physical capacity for it. I'll say no, because it's like, you will eventually just burn out if you keep saying yes to everything. Like, you need to take a break and to enjoy life and reset.
Do you ever fear that you declining work will lose you on that recurring business with that client?
Yes, I mean, yeah, the fears are always there, like when you're missing out on something, because it's like you never really know what's coming up next, and like there's no structure to freelancing. So it's like, when you say no to something, of course you're worried that like you just kind of cut off a pathway. But you know, in our business, like, we typically never just say no and that's it. We usually hand it off to someone else or like reference someone, so be helpful in that sense. And you hope that like the client is a fan of your work, where they're like, okay, like, we'll come back to you on another project, sort of thing. Like, you just say, hey, like, I can't take this on right now, but here's this person. And if it's someone you want to work with in the future, you say that. Like, you say, like, if you have anything else in the future, like, I'm here, and like, I'm around if you want to work together more in the future. So if it's something you can't take on right now, but you want to in the future, leave that door open. If it's something that if it's a reoccurring business, but like it's kind of work that you hate, like, and you like you're like, oh, I think like I would really actually not enjoy the day-to-day of doing this more and more and more, and that growing, the money aspect you miss out on, but it's like your excitement and like it just like takes away from everything else, like other creative work, your time spent investing in yourself and like your skills, and like it takes away from that, and it's like just not worth it once you hit a certain point in your career. It's okay to like say no to that and end that line.
What kind of language do you recommend you use, like in whether email or if it's a text? Like, what is some language that someone watching this can use to decline work without necessarily losing out on that client?
Hey, like, thanks so much for reaching out. Like, I really appreciate you wanting to have me on this. Start with that. And then you say, I am actually like either like unavailable, like already have another shoot, or I'm all booked up this month. Go with that. And then you say, but I'm happy to help you find someone else who can fit this role. And then you see if they'll take you up on that. And then you close with a little, I'd love to work, more in the future if you need something for a future project, like something along those lines. But always like help someone fill that role for them, like use your network to your advantage of like being an asset even when you're like unavailable. What are you weighing when you get a new project? And when are you saying no? When are you saying yes?
That's great. Yeah. I think, very similarly to you, like there aren't really too many differences that I feel like how I approach things. I think now, luckily, very fortunate to work with consistent production companies such as Happy Monday that we work with together, or Mike's company Hustle, or a couple other ones that I work with. So it's like, for me, they always kind of get top priority just because they keep me really busy, and I've been working with them forever. And if there's anything supplemental that comes in after that, then I kind of see like, all right, well, am I already booked, right? Like, am I even available those days? And then again, it's like, oh, I'm very big, as I've explained before, I'm very big on like downtime and, time for myself, or going on a trip, or going golfing, whatever, like literally anything else, like actually living life. So it's like, if I feel like it's not worth me sacrificing that, then I'm just gonna say no. Like, it's just not worth it for me. Or again, like if the project's just like uninspiring, but everyone does have a price. So, I think for me, for me, if we're being honest, like a lot, this is capitalism, this is America. Let's not sugarcoat it. Like we need money to survive, and if the money is correct, like I would basically do most projects. But if it's like something dumb, I don't know what something dumb is. There are no dumb projects, but if it's just something that doesn't align with what I am trying to do, immediate no. And I'm very quick with how you said, Quinn. My immediate line is like, sorry, I'm already booked those days or whatever. Even if I'm not, like, no one's gonna know. So yeah, so I think for me it's really like, does the money in the project make sense? But again, like you said, there are projects where it's like, this is gonna be really good for me. And even though maybe my rate is not always there or is not fully there, like it's worth me taking it. Or I really want to develop a relationship with this person or this production company. So maybe this first time I have to do it for less, and but it's worth it in the long term. So it's like, you really do have to think. For me, it's like, all right, let me think long term, and how is this going to affect my life? But most of the time, I mean, no one thing is going to change your project, but small consistent choices and decisions that you make are what create your future life, right? So it's like, you do still have to be aware of like, all right, is this no leading me down a path where it's like, it's not ideal for what I'm trying to accomplish, or is this no like a decision that I'm making because it's taking away from what I'm truly trying to accomplish? So that's like how I try to frame it in my head. But yeah, no, I think I get randos who hit me up on Instagram and it's like, yo, like, bro, like, how much for a music video? And like, first of all, what kind of question is that? Like, why? That's like horrible question. Like, I don't.
Intro.
Right. Like, what is your name? Where are you from? What are you trying to do?
Right.
How about a compliment? How about like a hey, love your work? Not just like, hey, how much for videos? Like, I get people who are just like, how much? What are you talking about? I don't even know.
What video?
$1 million. You know, like I don't know. So yeah, stuff like that.
I think it's good because like we're living evidence of like we have both said no to a lot of things, right? You would say, and you're still able to like get more work. I think it's so hard to difficult to say no because you're weighing so many different things. But it's like at the end of the day, your time is so precious. So like, even if you said no to something that was like not. You said no to something that wasn't super creative or whatever, like your time is now filled up with time to like get new work or, you know, develop your skill or like be creative and work on something creative that will help you get to where you want to be. Rather, like if you said yes, now your time is like taken up by something that you're not super into and you're expending all that time where it could be invested into yourself and what you actually want to be doing. So it's like knowing what you want to be doing and then like not being afraid to say no to stuff that doesn't really align. And obviously like there's so many other factors that go into it of like financial situation, whatnot. But like this is when you get to a point where you're feeling more comfortable, you're feeling more experience with yourself as a freelancer. So it's like, don't be afraid to like say no.
Yeah, and that's why that's why relationships are so important too, right? Like I think, you know, if you have strong working relationships with some of these people, like you can say no. And I've offered Quinn jobs and she's like, oh no, I can't do this right now. But that doesn't mean I'm never going to offer Quinn another job, you know what I mean? Or vice versa. And so it's like, if you have enough of these relationships where it's like everyone's kind of looking out for each other, then that's like, just, you're never going to fail. And you can feel more comfortable saying no to other projects because it's like, all right, well, if I say no to this, I'm sure Quinn will maybe hit me up later this month for something, so it's like I'll be taken care of, or like my other friend will hit me up because he always needs something, whatever. So I think that's why it's really also just important to develop that network so that you can say no to things that you don't want to do.
Yeah, that's huge. Network is huge.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole separate conversation, different tangent that we don't need to go down, but definitely say no. It'll just protect your peace. I'm all about focusing on yourself, but it's also like that time where you can just do what you want to do, whether that's spending time with friends or family or like going on a walk or going to the gym or going to a restaurant where you want to eat, whatever. Like that time, you know, even if you're not making money, it's still beneficial because you're taking care of yourself or developing yourself, and that's also equally, if not more important.
Yeah, you're investing in your future self there, which is important.
Well, I need to invest in my future self and go get a burrito because I'm starving. So I think this is a great place.
I'm like shaking. I'm like, yeah.
I know. We're just saying that. But no, with that, thank you so much for watching. Quinn, any final thoughts? Anything you want to add?
No, just say no to drugs.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Solid. No, I mean, that's good advice.
I mean, yeah. Okay. I was just thinking, remember, did you ever do Dare?
Yeah, I did. That's exactly what I was thinking of too.
That's exactly what I kept thinking of.
The logo popped in my head when you said to say no to drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
So aside from saying no to work, say no to drugs. But yeah, no, it's enough of that. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Quinn, where can they find you?
At Quinn_films. You can hit me up, slide into the DMs. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, here to help.
Hit me up on Instagram at Saul Lopez. Any questions, happy to answer them. But with that, thank you again for watching. And we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Later.
Peace. Later, Gator.
Later, loser.
Later, Skater.
All right, let's go get lunch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I might just hit it raw. That's on my element. I like dark skins. Love a melanin. Talk, push nigga talk.